Kakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Amud Aleph 28:1. We were just speaking about that we asked the question in the Gemara. The Gemara says that if the woman admitted that the husband paid off the ketubah, we do give back this receipt to the husband. So we asked, why don't we suspect that really Be'emet it was written in Nisan and it wasn't given until Tishri? And then what's going to happen is that she went during this time from Nisan to Tishri and she sold her ketubah for Tovat Hana. Remember, Tovat Hana means the value of what the ketubah is worth. And then, Meipikle Shovar, right? He comes and he's going to take it out, right, in Nisan, and he's going to collect it, Shelo Kadin. So Amar Rava comes and he says, and this is where the Gemara is going to start on Kaf Amud Aleph. Shema Mina, we learn from here. Ita le de Shmuel. He holds this halacha of Shmuel. What does that mean? The Amar Shmuel says, yeah, Amocher shtar chov. Yeah, lechavero. If a person is going to come and sell a shtar chov to his friend, v'chazarum chalon, and afterwards he's going to come and forgive it, machul, it's going to be forgiven. V'afilu yoresh mochel, even the yoresh could be able to be mochel. So therefore, so to here, if she sold her ketubah, she has the rights to be mafkia the zechut alokeach by coming and actually forgiving it. And therefore, we're not going to suspect that maybe Be'emet it was written in Nisan and she didn't give it over to Tishri. And now she's lying. But anyway, she could have done this. She could have done it in the same way that by her coming and saying, I forgive, that's it. She could have forgiven her ketubah. Just like just like the shtar chov, a person could just come, I forgive. And by doing that, that's it. Abaye comes and he says, Afiru teima leta le de Shmuel, even if you're going to tell me that we don't hold of Shmuel, still you could answer, Hacha ma'eskina, what are we dealing with? He says, V'shtar ketubah yotze mitachat yadah. We're talking about where the woman comes to Bedin with a ketubah in her hand, and therefore it's mashma that she didn't sell it to anybody, because obviously if she sold it, why does she have the ketubah? She sold the ketubah means that it's not going to be by her. So therefore, since we already know that she didn't actually sell it, so therefore we're not going to start suspecting, right, that she did come and she did sell the shtar ketubah. So says the Gemara, Rava Amar, and Rava comes and he says, Im yishum shtar ketubah, if it's going to be because of the shtar ketubah, chayshina, and I'm going to suspect the shte ketubot, to two different ketubot. Right? That means basically maybe she went and she wrote two ketubot. Yeah? Which means that when she went and she sold her ketubah, it wasn't that she gave it over. Right? She only gave one ketubah over, and therefore she still has other ketubah in her hand. But Abaye comes and he says, no, chada lishte ketubot lo chashirin. We're not going to suspect to two different ketubot. That's the first thing, because obviously you cannot have two different shtar chos. By the way, that's the reason why even nowadays you're not allowed to have two ketubot. So the hetek ketubah has to have in big that it's a hetek. It's a copy. It's not a real ketubah. Meaning, and you have to make sure, because you cannot have two documents on the same debt. So sometimes they come and they have like a copy. That copy cannot just be carbon copy, right? Photocopy. Because if you have like a type of a photocopy, so it looks like there's two different copies. It has to be written on the back, on the top, on the bottom, on the different sides. Copy. Hetek. Why is it written hetek? Because you cannot have two different documents on the same. Ve'od, and furthermore, shovar bizmonot torif. Right? Even if you're going to tell me, right, that the shovar is not coming to take out, and really Be'emet it only came out in Tishri instead of Nisan, still he's going to be zocheh from the lekuchot lemafreya, from the month of Nisan, so it comes out that it's actually going to be taken out from the time of the shovar, so therefore the collection from Nisan until Tishri was actually okay, because it was good according to the halacha, because that's when it actually takes it out. And Abaye comes according to his reasoning, that if you remember that any time that it's going to be a zechut, the witnesses which are signed on it already make him zocheh in it. Which means the fact that they came and they wrote this document in Nisan, even though it was only given in Tishri, but the fact that it was actually written in Nisan and signed in Nisan, so therefore that's it. The guy was zocheh, and therefore if you're going to come and you're going to take it out, yeah, between the Nisan and Tishri, you're still going to be okay. Fine. Mishnah on Kaf Amud Aleph. Says a Mishnah on Kaf Amud Aleph in the middle of the page. Matzah igrot shum. Remember the last Mishnah, right? What is Metzia? Metzia means you find things. So the last Mishnah we were speaking about, what happens if you found this and this and this and that. Now we're going to continue. What happens if you found an igrot shum, which is basically shtarot, that the betin come and they write to the lender, that they come and they evaluate the properties of the borrower with his chov. Shum is an evaluation. Yeah, like a shuma. So what does that mean? Right? I'm going to come and I'm going to lend somebody money. Now, when I'm going to lend somebody money, I need that they're going to come and they're going to write, and this is basically the betin writing to me, how much is the valuation of his different properties. So therefore, what it is that I am going to come and collect, right, it's not going to be all of a sudden, I know this property is this thing, and I lent this amount, so it makes sense. That's called igrot shum. Number 2, igrot mazon. Shtarot, that it's written that the husband comes and he accepts upon himself to give parnasah to the daughter of his wife from a previous marriage, which means it's not his own daughter. It's his stepdaughter. So now the wife comes and gets married to him. She wants that one of the conditions of the marriage is that he's going to support her daughter. So therefore it's called an igeret mazon. That he's going to come and give mizonot, parnasah. Okay? Now another one, shtare chalitza. A shtar that the bedin come and they write to the yevama, permitting her to come and to get married. It's called a shtar chalitza. That means she did chalitza in the bedin. So bedin write shtar chalitza. Now she could go because she get married. Miyun, if you remember, was when the bedin write to a kitana that the mother or brother married her off, and now she's mema'en. What was mema'en? She rejects the marriage. You remember? Only with the mother and brother can she do such a thing. She cannot do such a thing by the father, because the father is doraita, and therefore miyun does not help. But by the brother and mother, which is the Rabbanan, it does help the concept of miyun. Shtare birurin. Shtare birurin is the shtar that basically the beddin write after a beddin. They come and they write down, okay, fine, these were the ta'anot of every single one of the parties, and this is what we are going to mimvarer. This is what we're coming and we're a better word for evaluating. No, evaluating is like we were trying to clarify, right? This is the clarification. This is what we're paskening. How do you call it? Clarification. Thank you. Right? V'chol maaseh bedin, or any type of a maaseh bedin. Remember, maaseh bedin just means that the bedin come and they make a psak, right? Or any other type of a thing. So here it says, like, for example, shtare adarchata or chaltalta, right? Which here it says, we already learned this. So this is that they write it on a certain field, right? That it's specifically collecting on this field, right? Or it's going to be that they could actually come and look into all his properties. Hareze yachzir. So in any type of these documents, you do give them back. Okay? But here we're not going to suspect that maybe it was written to give it, right? And then they changed their mind. Because betin write it, right? And the betin would never write a shtar unless it actually happened. Meaning, if it's to do with a loan, for example, I'm going to write down a document and I'm going to lend to John Doe $1 million. So I could do it even though I didn't actually lend it to him. Why? Because you told me that you. So we come and we start doing the documents, and then at the end I decided, you know what, I don't want to lend it. Fine. Here it's a bedin. A bedin will never write a shtar chalitza unless a chalitza was performed. They would never write the shtar birurin unless shtar birurin is after the fact, is already after. So anything that the bedin do, you would give it back. Why? Because obviously these things did actually happen. Next, matzah b'chafisa. If you found other types of documents which are placed in a type of utensil, in a chafisa, or bidluskema is another type of utensil. Okay, I don't know if they actually translate to, what. Two types of container. Right, just a min kli. It doesn't say what type of a container. Just a type of utensil. It doesn't say what it is. Okay. Or tachrich shtel shtarot, or you found a whole bunch of shtarot together, or aguda shel shtarot, or a chavila of shtarot, right? Again, what do you do? Kruchim zebazeh. One is a chavila, one, another one they're folded within each other, right? Like a sandwich. Hareze yachzir. You're going to come and you're going to give it back, right, to the one that gives a siman. Okay, that's what Rashi adds in to do the siman. V'kama agudal shel shtarot. So what is considered now a siman to do with shtarot? Shlosha kshurim ze bazeh. Even if you have 3 documents together, tied together, that's already considered an aguda, right? We always say that it has to be an aguda achat. Aguda means one bundle. So it has to be tied together in one bundle. It has to be minimum of 3 documents in order to be considered a siman.
What is that? Sorry, what does that mean? What does it?
Rashbag says, Echad aloveh mishlosha, right? If right now you come and you found 3 documents of one borrower that he actually borrowed from 3 different malvim, yachzir laloveh, right? You have to give it back to the loveh, right? Why? Because for sure it came from him, right? Because basically, who usually has the debt document? The lender, not the borrower. So if you find 3 of them and that the borrower is borrowing money from different people, so obviously it came from him, meaning he used to collect them back. But instead of tearing them up, he just had them, right? It wasn't smart, obviously, but that's what he did. So but you give it back to him. Yachzir laloveh, you give it back to him. Shlosha halovim mina echad. But if it's 3 of them to the same guy, then you give back to the malveh, because it's probably that the guy lent it once, he gave him another loan, and he gave him another loan. So since it's from the same person, it's not a proof that the loveh came and he got the money back. It's maybe it comes from the malveh. So you give it back to the malveh, obviously, no? Okay. So matzah shtar ben shtarotav, right? He comes and he says, if you found a document between other documents, yeah? So you found a document of somebody else between the other documents that you have. Ve'eno yodea mativo. Now you don't know, right, how this document came to you. You don't know if the loveh gave it to you, if the malveh gave it to you. You're a little bit confused. Meaning, you have a whole bunch of documents. All of a sudden you come and you say, hey, what's this? And you see this is a document. Let's say it's a dead document. And you're like, but who was the one that gave it to me? Was it the borrower or the lender? Maybe it was the borrower, right? Because he already paid it back and he gave it to me. Well, I don't remember why he gave it to me. No idea. I don't know. Okay. Or maybe it was the lender because he wanted to collect. Maybe he was going out of town. He didn't want to lose it. He didn't. No. I don't know. And he doesn't know what it's. How did it come to Bechla? Since we have a doubt who's the one that gave it to him, the borrower or the lender, so it stays until Eliyahu Navi comes, Zachul Tov, and he's going to be poshet safek. Im yesh imahem simponot, if they have kabbalot, that means the malveh comes and he finds shtarei chovot with a shovar, right, with a receipt that was not given yet. Yaaseh masher b'simponot, you have to be mekayem that which was in the simpon, which means that you cannot collect it again, because it's already a chazakah that it was paid up. Meaning, sometimes it happens that the guy pays you up, and you come and you write a receipt, but you didn't actually have the time to actually give him the receipt, but you wrote the receipt. So you come, you find the document, but you found the receipt with it. It probably meant that he already did pay you back. Why do you have the receipt and you not him? Because you probably just didn't tear it, take it off and give it to him. You didn't actually give it to him, but Be'emet, he already paid you up. Because you're not going to write a receipt if he didn't actually pay you. So therefore, that's what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah says, you're going to come and it's already chazakah that it's going to be paid up.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said, but this is a Mishnah.
It's very normal. You don't wait and then you start
Fine.
writing.
That's what he says.
You prepare it ahead of time.
Okay. Says the Gemara. Okay. My shtar berurim. What does it mean now, shtare berurim? We're talking about in the Masechet, if you remember. So we're asking what exactly was shtare berurim. So Hechal Targimu, here they explain the shtare ta'anata, the shtare of the ta'anot. Meaning, this guy said ABC, the other guy said DFG, or whatever it is. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah that was from it still said no. Ze borel lo yechad, ve ze borel li echad, which means the shtare berurim was a shtar of coming in and pointing who's going to be the dayanim. Meaning there's something which is called zabla. Zabla is zeborur echad vezeborur echad. Meaning, many times what happens is that I'm going to choose one dayan, you're going to choose another dayan, and between them they choose another dayan. Now the problem though with that many times is some people don't like it, is because in essence it means you only have one dayan. You only have one dayan, right? Because basically like this: if I'm going to come and I'm going to say, okay, fine, I need, we have an argument. So okay, fine. So I come and I say, okay, Baba Haki, you're my dayan. Now obviously that means that Baba Haki is a little bit going to be more on my side, no? Okay, so but that's an essence. Now, right, he also needs a dayan. So he gets the other guy over there, he's the dayan. So now what happens is, between the two dayanim, each one was borello dayan echad. Between the two, they come and they choose the third one. So, but in essence, it means that there's one dayan. Because, so again, that's called zabla'a, but it's brought down in halacha. Some people don't like it because of that. Some people just don't like it because it's like a little bit more, you're going to say it's not 100% biased, but the fact that I chose you already in effect is, I'm giving you the kavod, you're my dayan, it's like you're my dayan. You're my dayan. No, you go to a bedin, nobody's dayan. That's it. This is the way it is. But okay, fine. So, two different opinions. What is shtarei birurin? Is it the tanot, meaning the claims of each one, or is it that each one was coming and getting a dayan? It says the two dots. Any type of maaseh bedin, you give it back. There was a get that was found in the bedin of Rav Huna. That it was written b'shvire mata. You remember we saw this already. Shvire mata was a city that was on the river of Rachis. Okay, Nahar Rachis. Okay, so the shliach came, right, and what happened was he said that it was lost from him. So Amar Rav Huna comes and he says, right, Kafa Mubet, Chayshina lishne shvire. We are going to suspect to two different cities which are called Shavire. Okay? So Elmaleh Rav Chasal Rabba says Chasatu Rabba, Puk Ayen, go look into this halacha. The Lord Rav Huna Minach was he was going to ask the question. Nafak dak v'eshkach. So he went out and he looked. Tetran and he said it's a Mishnah. The Mishnah says Kol Maaseh Bedin Yachzir. So therefore, if right now it's written that any type of Maaseh Bedin you're going to give it back. So since there was not uchsak in the city that there's going to be two different people with the same names, we're not going to suspect that it fell from somebody or that it's somebody, like the same thing. Same thing with a get. If a get is mikuyam, which means that it's going to be verified, you give it back to the shaliach. So Elmaleh Rav Amram le Rabba, which one? Well, we're going to see. He says here, right? Elmaleh Rav Amram le Rabba, says Rav Amram to Rabba, 1 second. Hechi pashimor isura mimamona. How are you going to be poshet isura from mamona? Right? Why? He comes and he says, when we're talking about this to do with din mamonot, meaning one of them is isurim. A get is isur. You're permitting a married woman to the street, right? That's called isur. The document from a lender to a borrower is mamonot. How are you coming and you're being poshet isurim, right, from mamona? Meaning, when we were talking about maaseh bedin, everything that we mentioned in Mishnah was to do with mamonot, to do with money documents. Nobody ever mentioned gets. Get is isurim. So don't come and be poshet isura from mamona.
What is poshet? You're explaining?
Yes, you're answering on, meaning I'm bringing a proof, right, deriving from it, right, that I'm making it simple, isurim from mamona. You don't do that. So Elmaleh says, okay, tarda. Yeah, he called him fool. Yeah, I'm saying it in a very nice way. Yeah, tarda. Yeah. So he comes and he says, yeah, shtarei chalitza u'miyun intran. Shtarei chalitza. What is shtarei chalitza? Shtarei chalitza and miyun, right? They're talking about what? They're talking about isurim. So paka arza deverav. The Gemara says the amud of the Bet HaMidrash was broken. Moramar mishum latai didi paka, because of the mazal, right? Basically shezilzal dabi. Umoramar mishum lati didi paka, because you went and you answered me in the Bet HaMidrash and you embarrassed me. So basically, each one was saying it was because of me that the amud broke, right? Says now the two dots on Kaf Amud 20b. Says the two dots. Matzach b'chafisa or bedluskema. If you found documents in a chafisa or dluskema, what is a chafisa? Amar Rav Chana says Rav Chana chemet ktana. We're talking about like a small flask. I think they usually translated it. Right? A nod is a flask. No, that's like this exactly a small bottle. You know what they like small bottle. The ones that they use usually for can. Okay, skin bottle, but it's the ones. How do you call those things that you put hot water in, and or like a thermos, like things like that? That's what usually is called a nod. A nod is a small bottle. Okay, here it says made for wine. This is made out of skins. My dluskma. What is dluskma? Amar Shmuel tlika desabe. We're talking about a kufsa of zekenim that they come and they put all their small little tiny things right inside, so that way they don't have to look for it. Okay, so again, we're just trying to translate what are these things in the Mishnah. another 2 dots, tachrich shel shtarot or aguda shel shtarot. If you found a tachrich, right, or aguda shtarot. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a braita, kama tachrich shel shtarot. What is a tachrich shel shtarot? Shlosha kruchim ze bezeh. We're talking about 3 different shtarot which are intertwined within each other. Okay, so again, 3 of them. The kama aguda shel shtarot, shlosha kruchim bezeh. 3 of them which are tied. So an aguda is when it's tied together. Karuch, it's when it's folded within each other. Okay, but again, minimum of each one was always 3. Twa. Shema mina, we learn from here though. Kesher, right? The kesher which is going to be is already a siman that they give it. Because if not, so what's the siman that you're giving now? Right? It has to be that you're saying that there are 3 documents tied together. So that kesher in itself, that right, is already considered an aguda. Says Gemara, no. When we're talking about an aguda, we're talking about the 3 of them are kruchim zebazeh, right? That basically when you put them together, and that in itself that they're going to be kruchim zebazeh is already the siman, because it's not normal lichroch and shtarot, which means that usually they come and they put all documents by themselves, and then afterwards you come and you tie them together. Okay, and here you put them like together and then you went and you tied them. You know, something that you folded them together. Usually you come, you take one document, you fold it. Another document, you fold it. But each one is separate. Not that they're all in one bundle. So says the Gemara, but one second, if you're going to tell me then that it's not tied and they're all bundled together, so that's tachrich. Yachi ainu tachrich. Answers the Gemara, no. Tachrich, kol chad berosha dechavre. Aguda teramu adedu kruchot. He says the tachrich is that every single one of the shtarot is on top of the other one. Which means, right, that you rolled every single shtar, right, one to the end, you know, like let's say from the bottom to the top, right, and then you did the next one, right, and then you did the third one. So, if I would just here, it means like this. I've got every document. So every document I'm doing from the end to the beginning. When this one finishes, I come and I take another one, and this one also I do from the end to the on top of it. That's inside of each other. That's called tachrich kol chad vechad birosha dechavre. Okay, and then when you have both of them, you do the third one on top. Aguda is the ramu adade, right? Ukruchot. So what was a kruchot? I told you. You had pretend this is actually separate, right? You do the first one. Then the second one is around the first one, and the third one is around the second one. Agudot was I put 1, 2, 3, and now I roll all together. That's called aguda. The other one was 1 by 1.
No, what is it called?
A kruchot. Okay.
The bread, whatever inside and the bread, right?
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3.
So the Gemara now says, "My machris." Right? When you come and you find these shtarot, what do you say exactly? Right? So do you say minyan? What does it mean minyan? You're going to say the number of documents. So ma'iriya tlata. So therefore, why did the Mishnah then only say 3? Meaning you're going to come and you're going to say, I found something. I found 3 documents. You're saying the number. The minyan. So why 3? Afilu trenam, even 2. But rather, the Gemara answers, Ela kedama Ravina, like Ravina says, Tiv'a machris. Right? You're actually saying that you found stam matbeot, for example. That means you're not saying the number. Right? That means just like to do with if you find coins, you don't say the number of coins that you found. You say, I found coins. So same thing, I found a number of documents. Hachanam ishtare machris. You're just saying shtarot. You're not actually saying how many. Meaning you're not going to mention a number of how many documents you found. You say, I found documents. And now the guy has to come, he has to tell you a siman of how many documents. Fine. 2 dots. Rashba Gomer, Rishbun says, if you have one borrower from 3 different people, and you found the 3 documents together, you obviously give it back to the borrower, not to the lender. Because which lender? There are 3 lenders, but there's one borrower. So it probably fell from the borrower that he collected all the documents back, but he didn't actually destroy it. Before destroying it, he actually went and it got lost. The Isal Gadaita de Malveninu, if you're going to tell me it comes to the Malve, why are they by him? So says the Gemara, 1 second. Maybe, right, the Malvim were going to Bedin in order to verify them. Right? And therefore, if they were coming to verify them, right, they came and they were sending it to the Sofer Dayanim, in order that he should do the kiyum. Meaning, each one of them went to the bedin. The bedin came and they were verifying it. And then the bedin come and they send it to the sofer. The sofer does the kiyum on the document. And he was one that lost it. So answers the Gemara, it's already mekuyam. Meaning it's already verified. So you can't say that, I know each one went and verified.
If you give it to the lawyer and he destroys them, then there's no loan anymore.
Yeah, but it wasn't destroyed. We found it.
We found it, but the Mishnah says we need to give it to the lawyer, not to the Malvin.
Exactly. So why?
He destroys them.
Who's going to destroy it?
The lawyer.
So fine. So let him destroy it. It probably fell from him. Doesn't matter, but it probably fell from him. That's a chazakah that it probably fell from him. That's what we're trying to find out. We're trying to understand why. We're trying to find out why. Right? Are you giving it back to the love? It makes sense because if right now I lend you $100, he lends you $100, and he lends you $100, where are the documents supposed to be? I'm not by him. He's the borrower.
No, but the love.
The love is the borrower. One more time. Right? I lend you 100. He lends you 100. He lends you 100. Why in the world do you have all three documents? So obviously it means that you paid us back and we give you back the documents. That's why you have all three documents. If it's one malveh, one lender, so then yes, it could be that it fell from me and I lent you 3 times and therefore all the 3 documents fell from me. But if I lent you 100, he lent you 100, why is it that you have all 3 documents? So Shalom, obviously you paid them back and each one of you gave them back, and that's it. So says the Gemara, no, maybe it's from us. We took all 3 of us at the same time to the bedin, and then they was going to the bedin to be mekayem. Answers the Gemara, it's already mekuyam. If it's already mekuyam, you can't answer that. So for the fact that you found all 3 in one place doesn't make sense. Like, we're doing I don't know what. You're going to tell us we're partners, maybe, but what is the connection between us 3 that all 3 documents are in one place?
So we're saying, okay, so it went to the sofer.
So the Gemara says, one second, if we're talking about right now that it was already mikuyam, which means it's already verified, dilma mida de sifra nafal. Maybe it fell from the sofer himself, right? Which means after he already came and he verified it, maybe now it fell from him. And so the Gemara, lomashi in chekiyuma bida de sifra. The second it's verified, nobody will ever leave it in their hands. Meaning, to go to verification process, yes, it goes and then it has to get verified. But the second that it's verified, right away you take it. It doesn't exist that it's still in his hands. Fine, 2 dots. Says the Gemara. When you have 3 people that they borrow from one person, then you do give back to the malveh. Why? Because it could have come from the malveh. But if it came from the loveh, why are they together? Meaning, how did they all come in one place? But rather, obviously, it belongs to the malveh. So, dilma lemichtevinu azle says the Gemara. No, but maybe they came and they were actually going to come and they were writing it. Meaning, the lovim went to the sofer to write each one of them. Right? And then it fell from the sofer before the guy was actually even able to do the loan. Meaning the loan never even took place. So answers the Gemara, diktive betlat safre. It was written by 3 different sofrim. That means you could tell by the writings that was 3 different sofrim, so you can't say it was from the same sofer. So says the Gemara, maybe they went to get it verified. And says the Gemara, malve mekayem shtareh, lo mekayem shtareh. Meaning the only one that verifies the document is the malve, not the love. The malve is the lender. He wants to make sure that the document is correct. It's not the borrower. The borrower is going to verify the signatures. The borrower writes it, give me the money. It's the lender that wants to make sure that everything's okay, so he's the one that's doing the lending. Okay? If they have simponot, remember, we mentioned that it has a receipt. So you do whatever is in the receipt. If a simpon comes from the malveh, even though it's going to be written with this ktav yad, right? It's like kilu that he's playing around and it's going to be pasul, meaning that it's nothing at the end of the day. Says the Gemara, Lomi by katu bichtav yado sofer. We're not talking about if it's going to be written by the sofer. Tika lememer that we could say safra itaram levekatav, that we could just say that the malve came and he found the sofer and he asked for him to write it and then it fell. Elafilu katu bichtav yado, even if it's written with his own handwriting, it's still going to be pasul. Savar bez he holds dilma mitrame vat ben hashvashov kaparili. He's going to come during ben hashvashov to pay back, right? Of Erev Shabbat. So therefore, if I'm not going to give it to him, he's not going to give me money. So meaning the guy's going to pull a fast one. What's going to happen? He's going to come basically by the Ben Hashmashot and give me the money. Now he wants a receipt. Now if obviously it's almost Ben Hashmashot, I can't write it anymore. So therefore he's not going to give me back the money. So what do? I come earlier in Shabbat, Erev Shabbat, I'm going to write it and then I'm going to give it to him. So therefore, that's why I'm going to do it. So this is a shita that he says that I'm going to suspect that maybe he wrote it even though he didn't actually get the money. But we had to come to this ukimta that this is what's going on. So says the Gemara, but the Mishnah is exactly against you. Because the Mishnah said, Im yesh lהם b'not, yasem b'not. So says the Gemara, you're right. Rav Safra says, Shenimtza ben shtarot kruim. If it's going to be found between the shtarot which are torn, hachanami so to here shemitzel ben shtarot kruim. It's going to be found between the shtarot which are going to be kruim, right? And that's what we're talking about. That it's actually going to be found between the shtarot which are going to be torn. So basically, we just answered in the Gemara like Rav Safra. We are on Kaf Amud Bet towards the bottom, right? Mamash on the bottom. Kedama Rav Safra. So we are 2, 4, right? 4 lines up from the bottom, right? Where it says, just like Rav Safra said, they were talking about Shenimtza ben shtarot kruin, which means this guy comes and he found the shovar, he found the receipts with all the other documents which were torn. And therefore, just like the other documents which were torn, I'm going to say that this receipt was also paid, but he just didn't give the receipt. Tashema. Okay, 3 lines down. 3 lines up, sorry, from the bottom. Yeah, Amud Bet. 3 lines up from the bottom. So, the minute telech lemata. Yeah, and 3 lines up. It says like this, Tashema. Yeah. So Tashema, so we're going to come and we're going to bring a proof from the Mishnah. Nimtza le'echad ben shtarotav. If it's going to be found, right, between the shtarot. Shtaro shel Yosef ben Shimon parua. So imagine you find the shovar, you find the receipt, that it's written that the shtar of Yosef ben Shimon is paid up. So therefore he says, shtarot shnehem pruim. So it comes out the shtar of both of them are going to be pruim, which means each one you could say it's his. Right, and it's paid up. So obviously the Mishnah is going to be soter, the words of Rabbi Meir bar Abba, that he says that a shovar which is actually going to be placed is going to be pasul, and you don't even have to be mekayem mashekatuv bo. So answers the same thing. Kedam Rav Safra shenimtza ben shtarot kruin hachanami shenimtza ben shtarot kruin. As long as it's going to be always found between documents which are torn, I'm going to say that really be'emet, he does agree that really be'emet it's going to be paid, and therefore he comes and he says that since it's going to be placed by the malve, it's going to be pasul. Okay, so Tashema, we're going to try to bring another proof now. Right, we're going to bring a proof from the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, right, there's a Mishnah in Shavuot where it says, Shavua shelo pakadnu abba. What happens if you come and you make a Shavua that the father did not command during the time of his death that it was paid up? V'shalom alanu abba, and the father didn't say anything. V'shalom matzanu ben shtarotov shel abba shtar parua, and we didn't find any type of a shtar, which is going to be parua. Which means that the Yitomim are going to come and they're going to say that they didn't find anything. So therefore, the question is, this is against Rabbi Meir bar Abba, that he says that if you have a shtar, a shovar, which is going to be in the hands of the malveh, it's going to be pasul, and you don't have to be mekayem mashekatuv bo. So says the Gemara the same thing. Amar of Safra ben shtarot kruin. That means basically they didn't find any type of a shtar between, right, any type of the shovar between the shtarot kruin. And therefore, in such a case, you do have to be mekayem mashekatuv bo, because if it's going to be with the shtarot, which are kruim, means that it was in all the places where they were paid up. So it's like, you have like a drawer of all the places which all the documents were torn up. So if it's not torn up, it means it was paid. The same thing, when you find the shovar there, it means that it was actually already paid. Tashema, the last question. Simpon sheyesh lavedim itkayem bechutamav. When you have a shovar that has witnesses, verify the signatures. Right? And therefore the question is why? Why do you even bichlal have to verify the signatures? So answers the Gemara, Eima yitkayem bechutamav. It means, right, you're going to be mitkayem from the signatures. Okay? Kafalef Amud Aleph on the top. Because we're going to come and we're going to ask the witnesses, whether it's going to be paid or not paid. Okay? And that's what we're trying to do. Meaning we're going to already ask the witnesses, is it going to be paid or not paid? Okay? So says the Gemara on the top of Kafalef Amud Aleph, the 21a1, says the Gemara Tashma, we're going to try to bring another proof. Simpon sheyesh lavedim kasher. If you have a shovar, remember the simpon is a receipt. If it has witnesses on it, and it's in the hands of the malveh, it's going to be kasher. So this is obviously against Rabbi Meir bar Abba, that he says that if it's going to be in the hands of the malveh, it's going to be pasul. Meaning a receipt is only good if it's in the hands of the borrower, not in the hands of the lender. So my edim, what does it mean edim? Ete kiyum obviously means that it was verified from edim. Hachanam misaber, it's also logical to say so. Kedani seifa, as the seifa says, right? V'shen alav edim pasul. What does it mean en alav edim? Ilema, if you're going to tell me now, there's no edim at all, the pasul, you have to say that it's going to be pasul. Obviously, we're talking about ede kiyum. Okay? Fine. So now it says just check the witnesses. If it doesn't have witnesses, right? If there's no witnesses, or it's going to be coming and being right, coming through a third party, which means the malveh gave it to a third person, or shiotze la'achar, right, chitum shtarot, or it came after the shtar chov itself was coming with the witnesses, it's going to be kasher. So the Gemara says, yotze mitachat the shlish ta'hemne malveh l'shlish. If it's coming through a third person, it means that the malveh believed the third person. And therefore, because that's why he's writing the shovar and he's giving it over to him. So therefore, he's believed to be machish the malveh and to say that it was actually paid. Right? Why? Because if he's already giving him this document, it means that he believes him. So therefore, he's going to be believed to say also that the guy paid it up. Yotze la'achar chitum shtarot, also that came after it was already going to be signed. Nami di lav de priya elo avel mishteh. He says, but if it wasn't paid up, right? So then the malveh will not come and start, destroying his documents, right? And start writing a shovar. So the fact that he wouldn't have written a shovar, that in itself was already a raya. So again, this is going back to what we mentioned in the beginning, that a person usually will not write a shovar unless it's actually paid up. And the fact that he does do so, that's going to be like a maral nafsheh, it's something bad for himself, so therefore we're going to actually take it into consideration, and therefore it's going to be keilu that it's already paid up. Adran alach, shenaim ochazim.